Join us again this week as we head south throughout the Greek islands. And here's a little of what you missed on our last video.
Nelson, what are we doing today? What are we doing today, old man? Nelson. So Nelson just wants to be left alone. So maybe we'll ask Ian.
I found land!
No.
I feel like Christopher Columbus. He was cool.
But what are we actually doing today?
We're going sailing today.
We're leaving the land.
Yeah.
That boat over there in the distance is Claudia and Renee, our new German friends. And
Claudia and Renee, subscribers on YouTube. And thank you very much for last night's mojito and coffee. Much appreciated.
thank you.
Bring me that horizon.
We're heading past all the beautiful beaches of Ithaca. Under engine, because although it was blowing,
I was up most of the night. It was blowing 25 knots and then dropping right off to nothing, and then 25 knots as it comes up over the hill, drops down the valley, accelerates, and then hits us.
you should probably have left this morning from Ithaca, from Vathi. We were going to head across to the mainland, but we have decided to stop in Zakynthos, Zante, to break the trip up a little bit. So we're going to go to AG Nikolaos at the northeast point of Zakynthos and stay there for a night, and if it's nice we might stay longer, we'll see. So when the vane is upright and vertical, it means we're happily on course. As it tilts over, so as it tilts like this, you actually see the tiller here move. So the tiller moves as the vane moves.
Blown away, back on course! Back on course. We're on a mooring in this tiny little harbour, which actually looks quite picturesque. And we're going to eat dinner over there since we're on his mooring. Just to show you, this is just caked, absolutely caked in salt. You see, I'm gonna have to wash all these off and we're gonna have no power.
Mamacita, vámonos de fiesta. Y ahora en mi corazón tú estás. Y ya no quiero a nadie más. Contigo que quiero pasarla. Mamacita, vámonos de fiesta. Desde que te vi, buscaba una así.
So the guy from the taverna said, this mooring is 25 tons. 25 tons is what he said to us. No. It was an oil barrel that at one point in time was filled with cement and rubble, which is broken up. Even though the concrete block was a bit small for our boat, we put a second line on there just to be sure it was relatively safe. And then we went off exploring. Zakynthos is famous for a few things. It's famous for its blue caves, which is what we're off to explore. It's famous for Shipwreck Bay, which unfortunately we didn't get to because of the wind direction. It was too rough around the opposite side of the island for us. It's famous for its party life, for the Brits, and it's also famous for the turtles, which are on the southern side of the island. Here we're going to go explore the Blue Water Caves.
Hold the boat steady.
Now that's a bit, it's got like a cathedral look to it.
Yeah.
Mother Nature's cathedral.
With the sun right behind it, so that they don't look camera.
It's coming in the morning. Didn't tell you that in the brochure, did they?
Yeah, we were gonna get to the caves and then slow down, do some filming, and then carry on.
Nobody wants to see caves.
I didn't realise we were doing caves at like 25 knots.
This is how the Kiwis do caves. With their jet boats.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be quite a nice walk actually up there. Oh, now this is much better than this though.
Please note the striations in the rock. Ian will tell you more about those later.
Striations. Some striations in the rocks. Geologists or geophysicists, nuclear geophysicists, tell you all about striations.
Anyway, back to the fun part.
Proper blue, nice colour.
Yeah.
Proper blue! Proper blue!
Where are you from?
Grizzle.
You would never guess that from his accent.
Where are you from? Oh, yeah, Holland.
I'm from Suffolk.
Stand back.
Oh,
I can't read, I can't write, I can drive a tractor.
shallow there. No, and it's shallow just off this rock in front of you too.
Yeah.
there's your rock.
Yeah. Speedy boat.
And it's shallow just there.
I'd be lost without you. Totally lost. I wouldn't have a clue how to drive a powerboat.
I reckon that's like a little hotel or something.
A little hotel
A
on top
hotel.
of a little cliff.
It's called the Wind. He just got that big boat in there. I'm sure you can put a little boat in there.
He doesn't fucking own it.
Going into the cave of death. And he was looking over here.
What? The cave?
The blue. Oh, there's a little cave underneath.
Wow. I got an idea. What if we put a float on and swim it?
That looks quite cool too. There's like a little ledge.
Yeah.
There's like a little arch in the cave.
A little arch. Little arch. You sure it's a little arch or a big arch?
Oh, it's quite cool.
Some might say it's downright chilly. That was built by the Byzantines.
I probably wouldn't want to walk across it.
I think you should.
Okay. Backing out, backing out. That's quite cool with the hole underneath.
Yeah.
Just around the corner from AG Nikolaos at the northern end of Zakynthos.
It's easy for you to say.
Yes.
Okay, Nat, what's happened here?
The other day when we were hoisting the dinghy, the halyard wasn't happy, and one of the last times we did it, it wasn't happy either. And I'm guessing something's either shifted up top, or whether the rope just got so old it just started to fray around that top sheave at the top of the mast.
But this is the top half, and the rope, in fairness, this is quite old anyway. It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So it's time we renewed it. So how are we going to renew it?
Okay, what I've done, I've moused it with this thin white
Mouse? You've set a mouse up there. What's a mouse, Nat?
this. So you attach this to one end of the halyard, and as you pull the old halyard out, it takes the white mouse line up with it. And so now we have a white mouse line in place of where this old blue halyard was.
Which is this piece of cord here. So this basically goes all the way to the top of the mast and back down again, and we're going to use that to pull in a new halyard. So the word halyard comes from the word hauling yards of cloth up the mast. Yeah, so it's a halyard. So here we have our blue halyard, which is now about to be replaced by another red halyard.
I'm just looking at the width of that one.
They're all the same. They were made at the same time. So this has been on the boat since Bristol as a spare. So 15, 18, 25, 40 years ago. I don't know. When did we leave Bristol?
Okay, what are you doing?
Stitching a loop into the end of this halyard quickly.
Why?
Because then we can tie the mousing line off to it and pull it up.
Very good.
It's a secure way of pulling this up inside of the mast.
And it also solves the problem of if you just tie the mousing line to the outside of the halyard, it obviously gets thick, so where it goes through the sheaves, it's more of a problem.
Absolutely correct, anatomy. So we're just whipping out.
Whipping? I thought you were sewing.
Whipping and sewing, yeah. I'm currently whipping that so it can't go anywhere.
Okay, so what we have there is a little loop, and we literally can tie our mouse line to the loop, and it should fit through all the fittings in the mast easier.
Except on that way. So it's not right. That line won't go down the mast. It jams right at my end, so it comes all the way down the mast and then gets stuck on something. We don't know what. So we have to try and feed it a different route, which means putting the mousing line down with the fishing weight on it. So Nat is currently at the top of the mast attaching a fishing weight to a small piece of cord which she is about to drop down the inside of the mast, and then I am going to have to try and feed this line back to her.
What are you doing?
We're off to Club Central.
Whoop whoop! Zakynthos town. Show us your moves.
Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
Very good. Today is the 30th of May 2021. We are in the quietness of post-COVID lockdown, and we are just leaving AG Nikolaos at the northeastern point of Zakynthos Island, and we are now heading to Zakynthos town.
Wind, we're under engine. Under engine. Don't really want to use the engine, but
Do you really want to go sailing after how we arrived at AG Nikolaos?
well, we'll save that video for another day. But yeah, getting here wasn't overly pleasant. Beating the windward in 30 knots.
With our staysail and well,
staysail, and that is the only time I've ever put the second reef in the mainsail. The second time in 20 years of sailing this boat, I put the second reef in. But, yeah, it wasn't a pleasant trip. On the approach is now to Zakynthos. We slowed down a little bit to let that ferry go ahead of us, so we're not in his way. Oh, what a shame they don't take dogs, and they're closed. Come on, you're not going on the Wally Trolley today.
Ex-quarantine, done differently.
Drinking coffee in a coffee shop, which is my favourite pastime.
And using the Wi-Fi.
Join us next time on SV Blown Away when we continue our journey south, stopping at the ancient port of Katakolo so that we can hire a car to travel to Olympia. Now, Olympia is the origin of the Olympic Games.
On your marks, get set, go! Now, did you pay for that last marina?
Yeah. But we are leaving today because?
Because we didn't pay the bill. And what's a
The old
yard?
ships.
What's a
The
yard?
yards were the pieces of wood that actually hoisted the sails.
That's a yard arm.
Oh, that's a yard arm.
How do you measure cloth?
Keep on sailing over.
I'm smiling, Wendy.
I'm just going to keep aiming
It's hard
the
work,
camera
Wendy.
at you.
Wendy, I'm smiling, but it's difficult. I don't.
I'm going to keep aiming the camera at you to see if you keep talking complete dribble.
Does it look fake?
A lot of the turtles are having trouble breathing because the nest's out. Shut up.
Why are they having trouble breathing? Because there's too many towels in the way.